Ay, Dios mío, mi presión alta. Buenos tardes, amigos. Mi nombre es Chadobi Picante. This is a little video about a Spanish mission named Tumacácori. 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 Whatever it is. Anyways, it's about 45 minutes south of Tucson, Arizona, which is a decent drive unless you're driving at desert speeds, which are normally around 90 to 100 miles per hour. And then it takes about 30 minutes. But it's okay. This is my first real video.
His name is Chadobi Picante, her name is Navo Joe. This here's a video of the place they like to go. He likes fancy hot dogs, she likes the Southwest. He drives a boring Kia, lives on the best.
I don't know what to do with this tiny microphone. It's weird. But anyways, this is my first official video. And unfortunately, with this little trip, my companion Navajo Joe had to wait in the car with the dogs because they don't allow dogs in Tumacácori. So that's a bummer. But so it's kind of a quick one. But you'll notice a lot of shots. I am raising my arms and trying to take photos of things, and I have to cut away to show the photo because it looks stupid when you see my arms on the video constantly. But, there's that. So anyways, here we go. Oh, and be forewarned if you drive here, because it's the only interstate in America that uses kilometers. So it's a little weird, but you'll get used to it. It's Kamala Harris country. La Misión San José de Tumacácori was originally established in 1691 by Spanish missionaries, known as the Jesuits. But the mission as we see it here today started construction in 1753 after the original site was destroyed. The large church itself began construction around the early 1800s. Why did they need to rebuild, you may be asking? Well, as you might have guessed, after the Jesuits arrived and established relations with the native populations, more Spanish arrived. And when there was enough Spaniards, it got a little out of hand. The main goal of the Jesuits was to establish Christianity and help local populations. But in reality, the Spanish government just wants the loyalty of the locals and their precious minerals. Like gold, they love the stuff. So in 1751, a guy named Luis Ocapecogigua, also known as Luis Brain Splicer in the native tongue, led a revolt against the Spanish, known as the Pima Revolt. Old Ham also means person in the native tongue, which means they are known as the Person people. Now, I know what you're thinking. This brain splicer guy is probably a great hero. And Mr. Brain Splicer has a clean record and might be somewhat of a local hero. But he also helped the Spanish military capture another people's land shortly before planning this revolt. So he's not exactly a great guy. Anyway, the revolt didn't work out. Brain Splicer was arrested, and the Jesuits rebuilt the mission at the current location. But out back here, you can see we have the mortuary chapel, and there's also a graveyard. I'm not sure who's buried back here, and I didn't feel like walking that far. But nothing back here. Never mind. At this time, the Spanish government also established a fort in the area to protect the mission because it was always getting burnt down. So, what happened to it? Why is it abandoned and in ruins today, you ask? So, it turns out the way the Jesuits actually handled stuff was a little bit messy. And when the natives would be baptized and convert to Christ, they were not allowed to leave the premises. They were basically enslaved forever, not allowed to leave. And some people didn't like that. So, from my reading, what I learned, a guy named King Carlos decided to kick all the Jesuits out of the Americas and ban them, exile them to Italy, and then send in new monks to kind of handle things a little bit nicer because there was a lot of revolts and a lot of stuff getting burnt down in the Southwest. So, when they sent Franciscan missionaries to the Southwest, they started working on the large church in the early 1800s and immediately ran out of money because I don't know why. Spain didn't send them any money to actually build anything or take care of anybody. But then shortly after that, the Apache attacked them and killed most of the livestock. So, anyway, in this region, the person people, or whatever they're called, they were pretty friendly. But the problem is the Apache were always attacking anybody who wasn't native, and they like to burn stuff down. So the region of the Southwest was once known as New Spain because of all the Spanish conquerors. But then in 1821, Mexico won their independence from Spain. The missionaries continued to work on the church, but then Spain stopped funding the church completely. So they ran out of money a second time. So they resumed work on the church in 1823, 5 years later. Mexico kicked out anybody who had been born in Spain, which was a lot of the head honchos at the church. So that just left a few of the converts behind. But all is well then, right? No. In 1848, the Apache attacked the missions, and then it was abandoned again. The remaining citizens of Tumacácori finally had it, and they left. They packed their bags and got out of there. In 1853, America bought the land from Mexico in the Gadsden Purchase to build a railroad, thus making the mission our responsibility. Now, fast forward to 1908, and President Teddy Roosevelt granted the property protected status, and eventually the site was declared a National Historical Park in 1990. A little bit more on the practices of the monks and how they would operate with the natives. Once the natives became Christians and accepted the monk lifestyle, I suppose, they would actually be trained in numerous different tasks, like learning how to make shoes or clothes, or learning how to work iron and learning how to forge things. So it was kind of like a trade school as well. But, you couldn't leave your job ever or quit. Otherwise, you'd just be, captured again. The actual park itself, I believe, is around 360 acres. So there's actually a lot to walk around and see. If you want to go visit the river, it's not too far away. And you can see where the ancient people used to farm, and they have multiple orchards there. So the way the church is now is actually unfinished. It was never completed ever. They never had enough money. They never had enough people, enough labor, or anything. So it just kind of sat here for well over 100 years, I believe. Have you ever seen a microphone this tiny? I haven't. It's kind of creeping me out.